Hey everyone, it's your girl Monica Leigh, and welcome back to another episode of the Drive Thru. For all of you that have been following me from the beginning, I appreciate you so much, and thank you for always pulling up. For all of my new listeners, welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about something that doesn't get enough real conversation. And that is what happens when life doesn't go as planned. Because let's be honest, we all walk into situations with expectations. We picture how things are supposed to go. We plan it out. We map in our heads. This is the way it should be going. This is how we're going to be doing it. And then life says, nope. Yeah, we're not going to be doing it your way. And now you are left trying to figure out, okay, so now what? And I think this is where it comes into play, expectation versus reality. I think one of the biggest things is we are taught to believe life follows a certain order. You go to school, you graduate, you get the job, you build the life, and everything just works. We have this perfect layout, all in chronological order. But real life, unfortunately, it does not always follow that timeline. Because as you know, sometimes things get delayed. It happens. Sometimes things fall through. That happens too. And then sometimes things just don't happen at all the way that you had expected. And when that happens, it can feel like something is wrong, like you did something wrong. And when things don't work out, because it's not about the situation, it's not just about that, right? It's about what you thought it was going to be. The picture that you had in your head. And now, miraculously, that picture is gone. So we start stressing. We start questioning our judgment. Where did we go wrong? You are trying to figure out, where did you go off course, if you will. And you're being forced to adjust, but to be able to adjust in real time. Not what's going to happen, in the next month, like in real time as we are living it. And it's really uncomfortable because now you're dealing with disappointment, uncertainty, and doubt. And you start asking yourself questions like, did I mess this up? And that's crazy when we think about that, right? It's like we are so good at self-sabotage that we immediately redirect that blame to us, right? So did I mess this up? Or was this not meant for me? That's another one, too, that always stands out. Because when we question maybe this wasn't for us, are we going back to maybe at a point where somewhere along our journey of this master plan, did somebody try to deter us? Was there a voice in the back of our head, saying, yeah, like, I don't know why she's doing this or why he thinks he would be good at it, because they're definitely not meant for this at all, right? So here we are starting to question, maybe this wasn't for me, right? And then there's also, am I behind? Now you're thinking like, gosh, where did I go wrong? Did I not invest in myself enough to learn, that you needed to do X, Y, and Z before the next step would happen? So you've got all of these mixed emotions running rampant in your mind. But the space right there, this is where people start losing themselves, losing confidence, losing the belief that what they once thought that they were supposed to do, maybe it wasn't meant for them ever. So let's talk about disappointment, okay? Let's be real for a second, okay? We're just no scratching the surface, nothing. Because at the end of the day, disappointment is real. It's a real emotion. We go through this many times, in our life, right? It's something that you really can't automatically shut off because it's a natural emotion. And there's reasons that, are beyond us sometimes on, why disappointment starts to fill our positive space, right? Because like I said, it is real. We don't talk about it enough. And everybody always says, stay positive, keep going. And if anybody that knows me personally knows, I consider myself a pretty positive person, because why wouldn't you be, right? Because it's better than the alternative, which would be negative. Simple as that. But staying positive doesn't necessarily translate to everything is always going to be the way that you want it and turn out the way that you want it. Because truly, in order to succeed, we have to experience failure, right? Even if it's just a thought, even before it even happens. So sometimes you're just disappointed. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to sit in that moment and say, this didn't go how I wanted it to go. And to be honest with yourself about that. Because honesty is the best policy. It means you're staying true to yourself. You are staying authentic to yourself and to your beliefs. And remember, how you feel, those are for you and you alone to dictate that. No one else. Okay? So this thing didn't go how I wanted it to go. Because also ignoring it doesn't make it go away either. It's still going to be sitting there. All it's doing is it's delaying how you deal with it. How many of us, whether we're having a bad day, we got disappointing news, we didn't get the turnout that we thought we would, we just try to ignore it, act like, oh, it's okay, let's just move forward. But can you really move forward with that? Because the way that you had it planned out is now not aligning with the way that reality has put in front of you, that a detour is about to happen, or you're just going to stop altogether and just quit. But disappointment doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that things didn't align the way that you wanted them to. Okay? And it's a real everyday type of situation. And disappointment, that word itself, I think it just automatically translates to negative, But for example, if you were disappointed on, let's say you were making a new recipe and it's good, or more or less, let's back it up. The people that you are cooking that meal for rave on about how great it was. It tastes so good. But then once you tried it, you're like, just disappointed on how it turned out. The flavor could have been a bit more rich, or, it tastes a little bit bland, So now the question becomes, what do you do next? Not just with that recipe, but with your life. When it has not given you the blueprint on what and how you've planned it to be, what do you do next? It doesn't mean your life is over. Again, we are so dramatic sometimes with our own feelings. And again, here comes that, self-ridiculing. We tend to tear our own selves down because of the way things did not go and in the timeline that it didn't go, right? But it doesn't, again, mean your life is over. It just means you have to adjust. And yes, adjusting is hard because now we're thinking to ourselves, how do we do it? I worked so hard to get to this point, but unfortunately, this is not the way it's going to go, because it also requires you to let go. And that is a big one for a lot of us. When you hold on to things that no longer serve you, and yes, I'm not even talking about people. We are talking about how your life in general is supposed to be. When we hold on to that, well, what if things were different? Or what if I would have done this? Or what if I would have done that? Or maybe I should have not said such and such. Or maybe I shouldn't have given that other alternative. Or maybe I should have spoken up a lot sooner, right? But it requires you to let go of what you thought it would be. And more importantly, accept what it is. And that's a hard thing too, because the way that we have our life automatically programmed and set up in our mind, whether we've written it down, whether we have a vision board, whether we just keep telling ourselves this is the way it's going to be because this makes the most sense and this is what I was destined to do. If it doesn't happen that way, let it go. Accept what it is. Remember, the only thing you should worry about changing are the things that you're in control of, right? But you can still move forward anyway. You can still move forward anyway. And that takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of strength. And I can tell you, from personal experience, it is so hard to try to pivot when you get to a point where you've got everything lined up the way that you wanted it to be and the way that you thought it would be. And it doesn't go that way. But I think for a lot of us, this becomes difficult to deal with and a hard pill to swallow, because it's basically making us question, well, I don't understand. Like, why? Because this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do, so on and so forth. But it does take strength. You still have to find a way to move forward, because now you're not moving with certainty. And again, it takes strength. And strength is not always easy. But as long as you continue moving forward and not taking a second look at what's behind you anymore, you're going to be okay. Because now you are moving with trust. Now you are moving with trust. So what if this is the redirection? Do we ever think about that for a second? Maybe this was the plan all along, but we had to sit there and go through all the highs to get to the lows, to redirect where we're supposed to be. And guess what? It could still make sense, right? What if life not going as planned is actually part of the plan? Pin that. What if life not going as planned is actually part of the plan? What if the thing that didn't work out is the exact thing that's redirecting you? You see, that sounds positive. That makes you sit with that for a second and think, okay, I'm listening. You have my attention. Okay, life, what are you throwing at me next? Because sometimes the redirection is for something better, something different, and maybe just something that you couldn't see before. Because sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a shift that is to position us in the right direction. A redirection is not saying or not translating to, I fell off, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing next, I've wasted all this time. Not at all. A redirection is shifting you to saying, okay, everything that you had planned out for yourself, for your life, for the future, it's not saying all that work that you've done up until now, you've done it in vain. It's not wasted. It's not saying, gosh, did I not have any inkling on what my life was supposed to be about? Was I really just not paying attention to any of the signs or symbols? No. What it's doing, it's saying everything that you've planned for yourself up until now, it's relevant, and more importantly, it matters. All it is, it's a shift. We are just now redirecting our life on a better path, maybe even on a faster path, and most importantly, on a path that we can look back and say, you know what? It was worth it. I might not have understood it in the beginning, but now I understand, and now I'm good. So a shift in your life should never be translated to a bad decision or a bad moment. Look at it like you are leveling up. You are upgrading not only you, but you are upgrading your life. And that's an amazing thing. And this shows up in real life all the time. Not getting into a specific school that you wanted in, that you had applied to, right? Not getting a specific job that you were applying for, not getting the promotion that you thought that you were so prepared to get, and it was screaming your name continuously. And these are things that I've brought up before on prior episodes. And the reason I want to keep reiterating them is because it's the truth. These are real everyday moments. But thinking something was going to work and it didn't. In those moments, your confidence, it takes a hit. You start questioning yourself. But the truth is, and I want to make sure that you're listening to this, your situation changing does not change your value. It doesn't take away your ability, and it doesn't define who you are. It just means your path looks different than you expected it to. And that is okay. Okay? It is okay. So I will say this. If you are in a moment right now where you are telling yourself things didn't go the way you planned, or you are experiencing that feeling where things didn't go, or maybe currently aren't going as you planned, please remember this. Just because it didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen at all. Your career, a relationship, taking that trip that you've always dreamed about, it's not saying it's not going to happen. It's just looking a little different. But different doesn't mean worse, and different doesn't mean that it's completely not attainable. Okay? So, if this episode resonated with you, or you know somebody that might need to hear this, please feel free to share. As I conclude our episode today, as a reminder, new episodes drop every Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I want to make sure that you always remember to pull up, same time, same place. And until then, take care of you. And I will see you all soon. Bye.